Welcome to Daily Life Connection. Thank you for joining me again today. We've been looking at hindrances to knowing who God is, and we've talked about the hindrance that self-righteousness brings. Defining self-righteousness basically being as strenuous moral striving, human effort to become more godly. And it produces self-righteousness. Today, I want to look at a particular aspect of how self-righteousness keeps us from knowing God, in that it makes us resent God. You may ask, how's that? Well, there's a wonderful story in Matthew chapter 20, Jesus told about a vineyard owner who went out in the morning and hired people, and then he went back later in the day and hired more people. Finally, he went back at 5 in the afternoon and hired more people. And then at sunset, he settled up the accounts, and he gave them all the same amount of money. And of course, the ones who had worked all day were very upset. They were angry with him. They resented him. And the problem was, you see, they felt that what they received should be in proportion to their human effort. Jesus is telling this story to show us that if we believe God is a performance-oriented God, if what he values most is performance, human effort to serve him and to obey him and to make progress in the kingdom through our own human effort, even with God's help, God help me, is still me doing it. And you can't help but end up resenting him, because God rewards those who don't put in any effort. That's the God he is. We talk about knowing God. We talk about knowing who he really is. And I think this is one of the concepts that we have struggled with over the years. We really think that God should reward good behavior and punish bad behavior. He should reward human effort to be morally good, and he should punish laxness about that. And of course, the Luke 15 story just turns that on end, but so does this story. When he's trying to show these people his generosity is not based on our effort, our human effort. That's the kind of God he is. He is a God who blesses and gives totally unrelated to our human effort. But like I say, I've seen this so many times in the church over the years, when people who work really hard to be good, try really hard to be moral people, try to make advances in righteousness and holiness by, just strong human effort to be moral kind of people. And then God blesses somebody who is immoral or doesn't even make much effort. You're going to resent that God, because you believe something wrong about the Father. The Father is not performance-oriented. He is relational-oriented. He is heart-oriented. And his heart is what's important to him. In that story in Matthew chapter 20, when the workers that came in the morning said, we've worked all day, we've labored harder than these people. And he says to them, do you resent the fact that I'm generous? You see, the issue here was this landowner wanted to be generous to every person. And he's saying that's where your focus should be, on how generous I am, how good I am, how kind I am. But no, because you think I am a performance-oriented God, you're going to resent me because I reward those who don't deserve it. It's called grace. And the reality is, we only resent that if we don't think we need it, if we think we've performed better than others. It's the elder brother. I've obeyed, I've served. Why didn't you bless me with a goat so I could celebrate with my friends, he said. You see, he resented the Father. He resented, and that's because he believed that's the kind of father he had, when it wasn't. The Father said, everything I've had has been yours all along. I already gave you the goat, but you thought you had to earn it from me. So this self-righteousness, this human effort to be good, to be moral people, to be righteous and holy, self-human effort, striving, strenuous moral effort, the Message version puts it in Galatians, always leads us to a misunderstanding of who God is, or it's based on a misunderstanding of who God is probably a more accurate way to say that. It assumes God is performance oriented, and therefore we try really, really hard, and we think that's what he wants. And, we and then we end up seeing him wrongly, and then we end up having these resenting emotions in us toward him. So, simple truth today: self-righteousness, human effort to be moral and righteous and holy, is based on a misunderstanding of who Father is. If we're going to get to know him, we will know he is generous, and he doesn't reward us, he doesn't bless us, he doesn't forgive us, he doesn't give us mercy based on our performance. That's the kind of God he is. And, like I've met Christians that struggle with that. Well, that isn't fair. No, it isn't fair. It's grace. And the more we get to know who we are, the more we are thankful that it's grace and not based on our performance. Well, I think that's good news today. Let's think about it, and we'll talk again tomorrow.